Hello and a warm welcome back to the Beardy Explorer channel. I'm Will and today I've got a very exciting project to do. I'm going to make another little bushcraft knife, but this time I'm going to be making it out of an old farrier's rasp, which is something I got hold of this week, and wenge timber. That's what I'm making a handle out of, so that's today's project. Okay then, so today we've got this farrier's rasp. I bought a couple of these this week to make this project, this little bushcraft knife that I'm going to have a go at. I think it's a pretty cool design. Again, I found that on Pinterest and just printed it out, and I think I did 3 different sizes. This is like the middle size one that I'm doing because I think that fits best with the size of my hand, so I've gone for that particular size. And this farrier's rasp, which is, I bought farrier's rasp because I've seen other knife makers use farrier's rasp because I think it's a high carbon steel, it's good quality metal, so I thought that would be pretty cool. And it's got a lot of these obviously textures on there for rasping, was it horses' hooves and things like that, so it's obviously got some rough edges and bits and pieces which I want to keep and incorporate into my knife to make like shavings if you like a bushcraft, and then you can use that to make a spark to start a fire, something like that. Hopefully I'll be able to keep that texture in there, so that's what I'm planning on doing. So I think that's got to have a sort of dual purpose as a knife and other bits for bushcrafting. And I've got a piece of wenge, I don't know how you pronounce it. I'd call it wenge, but this is another nice piece of timber that I've got hold of. It's another little worktop sample. Bit of a running theme with the timber I've got here, worktop samples, but that's where they've come from. So I'm going to be using that. It's a nice exotic hardwood, and that's what I'm going to be using for the handle. I'm hoping that's going to look pretty awesome. It already looks really nice on here, so hopefully fashioned into the scales for the handle art knife, it should look pretty bobbing. So that is what we're going to be going with today. So first problem I've already thought about is trying to get this pattern put actually onto the rasp. I was thinking, oh, I'll stick it on, but now I'm looking at it, I think I'm not even sure if that's going to stick to that. So I've got to try and work out how I'm going to get this pattern on here to cut it out to start with, so it stays on. So that's the first little problem I've got to solve. But anyway, let's get cracking and see how this turns out. Well, as you can see, I've gone with a Sharpie to mark it out, which isn't the best. It's still, you know, it's not the best of accurate patterns, but I think that's the best I'm going to go with. But I'm going to keep the pattern with me, so then obviously as I cut it out, I can keep referencing the pattern and making sure I'm getting the right shape. So I think that's the best way I feel I'm going to be able to do it, so it comes out right. So that's how I'm going to go with it. Hopefully that works. So let's get out there, get the grinder going, and start taking some chunks of metal off this and try and pull the shape of a knife out of it. Well, holy heck, this metal is a lot harder to cut, shape and grind than any of the other metals I've used before in the past. Yes, definitely a lot more stronger, harder to cut, so that's taken me quite a long time, just to get about an hour and a half just to cut all that out and get it shaped up. Still not quite perfect yet. There's a few little bits I'm going to go back actually and touch up in a minute, but it's really solid. I suppose the amount of sparks comes off is the amount of carbon, I think. There's sparks flying everywhere with that, but yeah, pretty hard to cut out, but take your time and you'll get there. With the shape of it, I've pretty much got it near enough bang on, apart from the handle. I did a bit on the handle and I kind of goofed up a little bit. I think I got a little bit over exuberant with the grinder, and it's kind of not quite the same shape, but I can live with that. It's not the end of the world. It's slightly different to the pattern, but it's fine. It's fine. We can live with that. So yeah, the next job will be to drill it, and that could be a bit of fun and games trying to drill this if it's super hard. I got myself a pack of 10 5mm drill bits, so let's hope I don't go through all of them, but I've got plenty to go with. So let's get the tang drilled so it'll take the scales, and we'll do that next, and yeah, possibly get another hole in the end there as well for putting the cord in. So 3 holes is what we're going to do now. So oof. Okay, so I've just tried to drill some of these holes out, and well, that wasn't happening. So what I'm going to do now is try and spot heat treat these bits to re-soften this hardened metal. But what I'm going to do is stick the blade end in the vise to use that hopefully as a bit of a heat sink, so the heat doesn't travel down into the blade and soften that bit, because I still want to keep that pretty hard, and I'm hoping when I grind it I don't get it too hot that it loses its hardness. But obviously, to get these drill bits through, I'm going to have to try and soften these. So I'll sort of put the flame on that bit, and obviously hoping that the vise will take the heat and use it as a heat sink so it doesn't travel down into the blade. So that's what I'm hoping is going to work, and that's what I'm going to try now. So yeah, wish me luck. I hope it works. It's trial and error. If it doesn't go quite to plan, I'm not sure I'm going to put these holes in here, but let's try this first. Well, we managed to achieve the holes, which wasn't too bad in the end once I heated it up. And I think with the heat treat, looking at the line there, it looks like the heatsink, the vice heatsink, has stopped it from going into what will be the blade. So I'm not too bothered about the actual tang being a little bit softer. In some cases I think it's actually beneficial to have that bit a little bit softer. So yeah, really happy that that's happened now, and we've got the holes in it. Did break a drill bit, as you may well have seen, but we got there without actually using too many drill bits. Obviously one casualty, but that's life. But I've gone for an 8mm hole at the back there as well for the cord. But yeah, got there in the end. So yeah, heat her up, get her nice and glowing, and then she'll be easier to drill. And fingers crossed I haven't damaged the temper on the actual blade area, but only time will tell. So when we get that sorted out, we'll hopefully not have done it. But that's the next job on the cards, is to get the bevels put into this edge, which is going to be a little bit of fun and games, I think, doing that as well. But that's what we're all here to watch anyway, the trials and tribulations of trying to make a knife. So that's the next job. Be brave, Will, and we'll get on and get it done. That's gotten her to an edge now. We've got a bevel on there quite nicely. Obviously we've done it with the grinder and the belt sander. It's taken an absolute age to get this far, and that's kind of roughly ground in. It's got a fairly decent edge on it already. But I have got a whole selection of sanding grits this time, so I can hopefully go down the grits nicely, get a really nice polish on this blade this time, because I always have a bit of trouble getting a really nice finish. So that will hopefully eliminate that issue and get a nice finish on that. So I'll probably get it relatively close to where I want it, and then I'll sort out the scales for the handle next. So we're doing pretty well. I'm pretty impressed with that. Do have a bit of trouble with trying to keep the bevels like super accurate. I mean, this is obviously done on a belt grinder, so it's never going to be super pristine, because you've always got a bit of wobble while you're trying to do it. Trying to keep your hands perfectly straight is an absolute nightmare to master, but I'm pretty pleased with it. I think it looks pretty awesome, and I love the way that when you cut back on here, it just looks all that nice texture on there. Looks pretty cool, but I'm trying to leave enough texture on there at the top so it can still be used. So I think I've just about got enough on that side. That side's pretty good, but that I've kind of gone a little bit deep with that, but we'll see how it goes. But yeah, getting on very well with this, pretty happy. So let's just keep going with it and keep it going well. What am I on about? Right, let's polish that up to about 800 grit. I'll do 800 for now, and I'll go up the grits. I've got up to 10,000, so I'm going to get a real nice polish on that when I'm finished. But as I've still got to work on it and the handle and all the rest of it, I think I'll just go to 800 for now, just to make sure it's nice and it's flipping getting sharp already. And I haven't even tried to attempt to sort of properly sharpen it, so that's going to be quite a mean little beast when it's done. But as for now, I'll leave it as is because I need to actually get me wire brush attachment thing on there and just clean up all this in here, make sure that's all clean and tidy. So I might scratch some of the actual finish on there already, so I might have to go back and do it. But I'll probably get that taped up now whilst I do the handle so I don't cut myself, because like I say, it's getting sharp now. So get that safe for me to work with, and yeah, try and rustle up some scales now. So I better get the ripsaw out and cut myself a couple of scales from my block of wenge, and yeah, get going with that. Right, that's the scales all sorted and ready to go now. Next thing is to just araldite them on, which is what I'm going to do in a minute. But on this particular knife, I've decided to go with brass pins instead of the stainless steel I've been using before. I think when I was using the stainless steel, when you're polishing it and cutting it back to obviously make the handle, I did find on my last knife it got too hot and it tended to put a little black ring around the actual pin in the wood, and I wasn't that happy with it. So I thought, actually, if I try a bit of brass, obviously that'll be a lot softer and it should cut easier when I'm grinding it and making it into shape. So whoops daisy, I'm going to use the brass rods this time instead and see how that goes. there we go. There she is, all completed. Looking rather nice. I'm pretty proud of this one. I do like that. That is a nice looking, well sort of textured up and just a really cool looking knife. Really happy with that. Not really sure what the name of the design of that is. I mean I found the design on Pinterest, so if anybody knows the actual name of that sort of style of knife, just smack it in the comments below. It'd be nice to know. I'm just calling it a bushcraft knife, because why not? But I say, if they've got their proper names, I'm new to all this, so I don't know the various names. I know you've got ones like drop point and things like that, but I don't really know. So if you could help me out, that would be super cool. So yeah, with it all being finished, it's not super perfect. There are bits on it which are, I'm going to say, annoying me, and it gives me an idea of where I can get better next time I have a go. Obviously, I'm going to point out the fact that you've got the rasp, and I've done the handle, and you can still see sort of the rasp marks within the handle, and that kind of annoys me. I felt like I should have probably ground them off, but I'm struggling with the grinder I've got to get it accurate on this point here, so that's why that didn't get done. But now looking at it, I wish I'd tried to maybe get rid of that, because it just looks a bit messy, and I'm not really a big fan of that. It's on both sides. And then the scales, they're a little bit out. They must have moved when I drilled them. I thought I got them super happy, got them accurate, but they must have moved when I popped the drill through, and that kind of annoys me a little bit as well. And there's a little bit on the handle where obviously I misground it, if you will, and I would have preferred that just to have a little bit more of a dip on the bottom there, so it sits better in your hand, so it doesn't feel like it's going to slide out. I mean, I'm going to put a cord on it anyway, so it's not like it's going to go launch it, but it's just a design feature. I wish, it was there. But again, you learn, and we'll maybe incorporate all those bits into another one if I have another go. But other than that, super happy with it otherwise. And she's pretty sharp. I wouldn't say she's like a razor. She won't cut the paper still yet, but she's got some good edge on her. So yeah, pretty happy. But that's that project all done and dusted now. So if you've enjoyed this, please give us a like, hit the subscribe, whack the old bell button. That would be super cool if you could. And hopefully see you on next time when I do another project potentially, or maybe even get out and about, see what the weather's like. It's still a bit hit and miss in the UK at the minute, but we'll see. Take care. See you soon.